What if I told you that every single word you say around your child, even when they're just a baby, is literally, and I mean literally, building their brain? This isn't some nice metaphor. It's pure neuroscience. So let's explore this invisible, but incredibly powerful connection between your words and their world. It's a question that I think haunts a lot of parents, in those quiet moments right after an argument. We tend to tell ourselves, oh, they're just a baby. They're not going to remember this. But what if their brain isn't just listening? What if it's actually being shaped by that conflict? I mean, that's the common belief, isn't it? They're just too young to get it. The words, the context, it all just seems to fly right over their heads. But is that assumption really correct? Well, what if that silence you see from them isn't blankness at all? What if it's something else entirely? You see, decades of research have given us a pretty surprising answer. The idea that babies don't understand conflict is, well, it's almost entirely wrong. So, how does a baby's brain, one that can't even process words yet, make any sense of the emotional storm of a parental argument? Well, the answer lies in that silent witness, the infant brain itself. Okay, this is where things get really fascinating. A groundbreaking fMRI study from 2012. Researchers played recordings of angry voices to sleeping infants. The words were total nonsense, but the tone was everything. And even in their sleep, those angry tones lit up the amygdala, the brain's little threat detection center. This means a baby's nervous system is hardwired to recognize conflict as a danger signal, long before they can understand a single word you're saying. And it's not just a one-off reaction. No, when they're exposed to conflict over and over, it creates something called a sensitized threat response. Basically, the baby's brain learns to be on high alert all the time, constantly expecting danger. Their stress hormones, their cortisol, it spikes faster, it goes higher, and it takes way longer to come back down. So in essence, their little brain is being trained to live in a state of chronic stress. So, that silence, when a baby just freezes during an argument, it is not emptiness, it's hypervigilance. Their brain has just flipped into survival mode, and it's redirecting all of its resources to just one single task, monitoring for threats. Now, as a child's brain develops, it's not just about the tone of voice anymore. The words themselves, the text, start to carry a ton of weight. Let's take a look at how certain common phrases can become words that wound, leaving these lasting scars on a child's sense of who they are. Yelling isn't just unpleasant. It's like an emotional poison. It creates this toxic environment that can stunt a child's growth in pretty much every way you can imagine, from their ability to feel safe and secure, all the way to their capacity to learn and to connect with other people. Look, we have all been there, frustrated, at our wits' end. But when we ask, "What's the matter with you?" it's not a real question, is it? It's an accusation, and it tells a child that they are the problem, that there is something fundamentally wrong with them. Just imagine a child trying their absolute best and still falling short, and then they hear those words, "You are such a disappointment to me." Man, that's just a crushing blow to their spirit. It teaches them that love is conditional, that their worth is something they have to earn through their achievements. Oh, it is so easy to fall into the comparison trap, especially in the world we live in today. But when we say, "I wish you were more like your brother," or whoever, we're sending a crystal clear message. You are not enough just as you are. And that can just chip away at a child's self-esteem and create this feeling of constant competition. Because I said so. It's a classic, right? We've probably all said it. And yeah, it might end an argument in the short term, but what it really does is shut down the possibility of a real conversation. It teaches kids that their questions and their feelings just don't matter, and that power is way more important than understanding. So, after all of that, you might be feeling a little bit down. But here's the really good news. The story doesn't end here. There is a powerful antidote to the damage of conflict, and it's called repair. Think of it like a broken bone, right? The break itself is painful, but it's the healing process that really determines what happens long term. A huge study found that the real damage doesn't actually come from the conflict itself, but from the lack of repair. When a child sees things get warm again, when they see connection, it's like a healing balm for their entire nervous system. Imagine a fire alarm starts blaring in your house. You wouldn't just ignore it and hope it stops, right? You would need to know that the fire is out before you could relax. It is exactly the same for a child's nervous system.
After a conflict, it needs a clear, all clear signal. A hug, an apology, a return to that warmth, to know that it's finally safe to stand down. Okay, so how do we go beyond just repairing damage and actually proactively build a foundation of security for our kids? Well, here are 6 acts of love. These are the essential ingredients for raising a child who feels safe, seen, and just deeply loved. All right, so these 6 acts are basically the building blocks of a secure attachment. First, come when they call. This teaches them right from the get-go that their needs matter. Second, see the real child in front of you, not the one you imagined. That way they can grow into who they truly are. Third, and this is a big one, stay when things get tough. This proves your love is unconditional. It creates what researchers call felt security, that deep, gut-level knowledge that they belong, no matter what. Fourth, let them fail. Yep, this helps them build resilience and trust their own ability to handle setbacks. Fifth, tell them the truth. This models that challenges are a normal part of life, not something to hide from. And finally, number 6, enjoy them. Don't just love them, truly delight in who they are.
So, what does your child hope you truly understand? Maybe it's this: their entire world is being built, moment by moment, by the words you say and the love you show. And look, it's not about being a perfect parent. It's about being a present parent, one who's willing to learn and to grow and, crucially, to repair. And that is a gift that will last a lifetime.